Hi everybody, welcome to another CYT live show. Now you've probably noticed I've not been on this week. That's because we've got a lot going on. We're meeting everybody that's coming over to Scotland for this week for the YDF kind of get together, the meet up. There's going to be about 23, 24 people meeting up. So I've not been able to do the lives. You know, I've kind of met Maria Flynn and her daughter. I brought them over. They're working with me just now. So that's why I've not been on live. But although it's been an extremely busy week, and it is an extremely busy week, there is one person I wanted to kind of clear the schedule for, and that is the wonderful Mary Smith. And you've probably heard of Mary Smith before. She is known as a premier Facebook marketing expert, known as the Facebook Queen. That's how we all know her, and you probably know her as well. I've spoke about her in the past before. Kind of spoke about her kind of books and her, kind of what she does before. But she's often, Mary was hired by Facebook to teach businesses throughout the USA, and she serves as a brand ambassador for many leading global companies. And Mary is also an expert, a webinar leader and a live webcast host, and author of The New Relationship Marketing and co-author of Facebook Marketing an Hour a Day. Now, what we're going to do with this interview with Mary, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of speak to her, get to know her history, get to know how she became the Facebook Queen and how she became so brilliant in Facebook and how she keeps up with everything. But if we've got time at the end, if you want to ask Mary a question, just put a capital Q in the box and we'll try and get maybe 10 minutes at the end, if that's okay. But without further ado, I'm just going to bring on Mary Smith. Mary Smith, welcome to the show. Brilliant to have you here.
I have been so looking forward to this, Stephen. It's not every day I get to have an interview with a fellow Scot, and I know my accent. By the time we get a few minutes in, I know I'm going to be like so Scottish.
See, I can hear it going already. So you're starting to speak with that Scottish twang already. But we kind of met up a couple of weeks ago on Skype, and to be honest, I didn't know what to expect when we kind of got together to speak on Skype. I didn't know, because I knew you were this super busy, kind of super high flying kind of person. I thought, I wonder what she's going to be like. But I just thought you were amazing. We just kind of clicked straight away, and I thought we have to have you on for an interview. But it's brilliant that you're here. I'm really, really glad that you're here. And I know the kind of viewers are going to love it as well.
Well, I loved it too. And just a real quick interjection there. I've been following your content for a long time, and it turned out we were kind of like mutual fans of each other. We didn't really know it, and we hadn't quite made that official connection yet. So, and the timing was just perfect and divine almost. It was synchronicity, because I reached out to you and you're like, Mario, I've been trying to get hold of you. And I'm like, really? I've been trying to get hold of you.
Well, because what I've done is I'd had a kind of top list of people I wanted to interview on the show, and Mary was one of them. And I couldn't get hold of her because she'd reached a friend limit. So when you try and friend somebody and they reach the friend limit, it just says you can't friend them because they've reached over 5,000 friends or something. I thought, shit, how am I going to get through to her? And then a couple of weeks after it, you'd kind of reached out to me. So it was just divine intervention. So there was something meant to happen with this, and I think this is part of it as well. So it's going to be really good. I'm really, really looking forward to this.
Awesome.
So I'd like to kick off with, I know kind of your backstory, but if you'd like to give us a wee bit of your backstory. I know you kind of left Scotland. I think it was February 1999.
January.
Is that right? With £50 in your pocket and went over to America. But the thing there is, just to start off with, that's extremely brave for anybody to do. Never mind back in 1999, but for now, for anybody to do that, you've left kind of Scotland, went over to America, and just saying, okay, I'm meant to be here. What's the story behind that?
Well, it's really interesting because I really love that definition of luck being when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, I'd been an employee all my life. I left school really young. You know, my dad was a single father with 5 daughters, and in the family, 5 girls. And I just, never had much money growing up. And I was like, I got to get out and get working. I got to get out in the workplace and, earn my own money. And, but I never really had an entrepreneurial propensity throughout, my late teens, all the way in my 20s and then my early 30s. I was like, you know what? I really have this strong desire to set my own business. And interestingly enough, so all of 1998, I started doing this planning, and this is like early days for the internet somewhat. And I love to, I wouldn't call myself a coder, but I certainly know, like back then, like HTML, and I think I had whatever that program was called, Front Page. Was it before Dreamweaver? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, that's right.
So I started building myself a website. I'm doing all of this networking online. I found all these cool people, and I'm like, okay. So I started planning to launch a business. I call it dynamic speaking, and it was training in the personal development, public speaking. I was very active in Toastmasters, and I also worked as for money. I worked for a lot of temp agencies. I actually worked for a lot of law offices, and I was a secretary, legal secretary for many years. I did marketing, I did sales, I did training. I had a very diverse career. And so then in '98, I was beginning to get a few speaking engagements and clients and getting on the road. And I'm like, ooh, okay, my business is getting ready to launch. I'd taken some courses from my local, I forget what they're called, but like entrepreneurial training programs.
Yeah.
And literally, Stephen, I tell you, I was like on my way to the bank to get to a small business loan to start up and get myself officially launched with all the materials and everything I needed. And I got this invitation out of the blue to come to San Diego. And this was late '98. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. I hear all the angels singing and getting the goosebumps. I'm supposed to go. I'm not supposed to do my business here in Scotland. I'm going to go to America. Yay. And I'm like, wait, San Diego, that's where all the people, all the books on my shelf, like Louise Hay and Deepak Chopra and Tony Robbins and, all of these, like, Mark Fitzgerald and Jack Canfield, they'll all be my neighbors. Don't they live in that area? So yeah, it was just, it just was meant to be, if you will. And I was really, I feel very blessed to have followed that path.
See, that was the thing as well. I noticed when we were talking as well, that we were very into kind of personal development and kind of the law of attraction and stuff like that as well. But back then it wasn't really kind of that well known, but you were listening to the signs. And that's what I found fascinating as well when I was reading your story and you were telling me about it.
Yeah. I tell you, I can remember vividly, there's a big bookstore. I think it was on George Street or Queen Street in Edinburgh, or you're from Edinburgh, right?
Yeah, originally, yeah.
You live outside there right now. I know, that was funny. We were swapping notes about where we used to live.
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, and I would go and I would work at these different offices, and this is in like 96, 97, 98. And I would be, going on my lunch hour. I would spend my lunch hour in this bookstore, and I'm like back in the day with the cassettes, right? Before like, MP3s. And I'd be like buying these cassette tapes and we listening to them. And then I discovered the book, The Celestine Prophecy. It talks about everything having an energetic field. And I remember sitting in Princess Street Gardens, right below the castle, beautiful, beautiful part of the city. And, and I'm saying, oh my gosh, I can see the energy on the trees. And like, I'd be walking along with this big beaming smile, and I'd go back to work. And I remember my colleague saying to me, Maury, why are you always happy? I'm like, because, the weather in Scotland is always like, overcast and whatnot. And I'm like, well, it might be cloudy and rainy outside, but in my heart it's always sunny.
Did you honestly feel that though? Did you, once you started, because obviously you're into personal development, probably as much, because I remember the Celestine Prophecy as well, and I thought it wasn't a brilliantly well written book, but the content in it, I just kind of opened my eyes to so many things. So were you into it as much back then as well, or was it kind of one book or a couple of books? Or
I would say probably from my early teens onwards, I really had this thirst or this curiosity for knowledge. And so much of what I do, I would say, is, quote, self-taught, insofar as, I've learned from many masters in whether going to programs, taking trainings, having a big believer in having a coach and or a mentor, and reading, listening to audios, things like that. Now, my father, I know, as I mentioned, he's a single parent, and he was an entrepreneur. My dad, I don't think he really was an employee a few times in his life, but mostly he was always an entrepreneur, and he was a baker. We had this little bakery in Canada. See, I spent my childhood in Canada. I was born there, although both my parents were Scottish. And it was really, my dad had this real curiosity and this deep love of learning and knowledge, and I don't know how he did it. He went to Open University, night school, and got degrees, and he painted and he wrote books and he wrote poems and he wrote music. And so I have that, I feel blessed. I've inherited those traits from my dad, so I'm just always like a big sponge, soaking it up. So
So you've inherited that kind of entrepreneurial spirit from your dad, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah.
why did you think then? Well, there must have been a point when you thought, okay, I want to start. I know you kind of been an employee, but what was the tipping point that made you say, I want to start my own business? I know I can do this, because you've got to have courage, you've got to have confidence. There's a lot of factors you need to kind of input, not let alone going to America, but even thinking that you want to be an entrepreneur. What was the tipping point?
Yeah, I think it was a culmination of everything. I remember going to Toastmasters, and I was the vice president of my local chapter, and I just kept gaining more confidence, I'll say, because I was a very, very shy child, very soft-spoken, very self-conscious, very shy. It's funny because one of my elementary school teacher and some friends that went to elementary school way in the boonies of BC were Facebook friends. So shout out to Flora, my elementary school teacher. And she was so cute. The other day she messaged me. She's like, I can hardly believe one of my little students in this tiny wee school is, made a real success of her career and, become a public figure or whatever. But I know, because if people had known me as a child, they'd be like, wow, I would never have believed you'd be a confident public speaker. But, I'm sure you will agree, Stephen, that some of these aspects, they're kind of inherent in there. It's like a latent potential. And then we get in there and we start practicing. It's like that. So they say, do you know what the way to Carnegie Hall is, right? Practice, practice, practice. So if, and I say this specifically to the women, and not to be, gender specific, but I think that women in particular have a propensity to be a little not as confident in presenting themselves as a speaker, and raising their rates, or really charging what they're worth, and things like that. So it's just been over the last several decades, it's been really practicing that, and like I say, being active in Toastmasters. So your original question, what was the tipping point? But I think it was a culmination over many, many years, and just thinking to myself, well, I don't think I'm really ever going to get fully ahead financially if I just keep working for, a regular job. And if I'm a great fan of likes of Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman. I'm a great fan of having a debt-free life if you can, and living within your means, and saving and investing. But that wasn't always possible in my 20s. I think the pendulum swung, because my parents never had any money growing up. My dad really struggled for a little while, and he was always very resourceful. But I was like, when I grew up and I have my own money,
So you've obviously gained kind of confidence a lot, obviously, from Toastmasters, but obviously I know I've been to Toastmasters as well, and that gives you confidence within yourself. So there's something obviously kind of sparked within you to say, right, I'm going to America. So, but you've got to America. You've got that call just as you were going to go to the bank. So kind of what happens from there? Because we're just kind of leading up to where you are just now, because everybody knows where you are just now. So what kind of curious?
This is a really fun part of the story, because like you mentioned earlier, I literally came to the States with 50 British pounds, about $100, right? In 1999, January, I forget the exact date, I think the 17th. And I knew one person and his wife. He was a longtime friend we had a longtime mutual friend in England. And then I came with this 50 pounds. I had 2 suitcases, and I mentioned that my father was a baker. So in my early 20s, I'm very creative and artistic, like my dad too. And I went for 3 years. I went to night school, and I studied cake decorating and confectionery. Little known secret about my So I had this little part-time business where I'd make novelty cakes, wedding cakes, and I just loved it. And so I had a little portfolio. So when I came to the States, I'm like, okay, I have no idea how I'm going to get started here. I need to get my papers, I need to get a visa, I need to find an immigration attorney, I need to get money going, I need to find a place to stay. And my friends were very, very, very generous and let me stay with them. And initially, a very small place they had. And I could not come into this country in a one-way ticket, obviously, right? Because I'm coming on a British passport. And so I got a return ticket for 30 days. I gave myself exactly 30 days. And I'm going around like, okay, I'll do anything. What do I need to do? I just need some cash. And I had gone to this local bakery and kind of like south at San Diego. and I showed them my portfolio of cakes. And then like a week went by, and I'm like, hey, if you need any help. And then I said, I was sitting there and like, okay, I think it's like day 28, might be day 29. And I'm like, all right, okay, universe, God, great spirit, you got to give me a sign. I know I'm supposed to stay here. Please just confirm and give me a sign. I swear 1 hour later, the phone rang and it was this bakery. They're like, Mari, we could use some help this weekend. Could you come in? And I'm like, boom.
And that was it.
Started in the States. Yeah.
That's it. And I love that story because you were kind of directly talking to the universe, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, the spirit force or whatever. Yeah. And I love that story. And you got kind of an immediate kind of answer. Well, an hour later. And I just love stories like that. But if you think about it from your story, if you hadn't got that call, where you would be now, where you could be, you might have made it, kind of came back and made it over here or whatever, but you knew you were meant to stay over there and do something. And that's when it all started for you. And that's why I love that story so much as well.
Yeah.
But from there, how the hell did you get into kind of Facebook and kind of social media and stuff like that as well? When you were into kind of cake decorating and you were kind of doing that on the side, where did that come from?
Well, as I look back through my entire career, and even age 12 or 13 or 14 was still at school, I've always had a love of tech. I remember this old computer my dad had. It was a Sinclair or whatever it was called, C5 with a cassette.
The Sinclair Z5, yeah.
It's like, hello, 1980s, really dating myself. Here. But I used to get in there, and my dad had these little programs, and I'd program this like 5-part harmony music that he had, or Hangman or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, I just love that. So if I look back through my entire career, I've always had this tech component of the internet. I love, technology and the internet. And then I've always had an element that is people-based, and it's connecting it to relationships. It's studying behavioral analysis. I love the DISC model or the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs. And I studied a lot of those, astrology, things like that. I love knowing what makes people tick, and I love understanding people and having more compassion for the world and for everybody in the world. And so I've got like literally these two parallel paths. And I would say probably up until then, when in 99, I ended up, starting my personal development, speaking, training, coaching business, getting a certification from a coaching organization in relationships. I was teaching classes. And then it was about 2007, I got into Facebook. So it was probably 2006. And I remember taking a class, and I had these 2 ebooks out. One was an ebook on email marketing, information product, and one was on relationships. And I remember my a coach mentor of mine is like, Mari, you can't have these 2 careers. You can't have these 2 split focuses. You got to pick one. And I swear, within a short period of time, I got this invite to join a beta team on Facebook, and I was testing this app called Pod Class, where you can take and teach classes. Yeah. And I thought, literally, like within 3 weeks of getting on Facebook, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. Throughout my the last few decades, people and technology, boom, fused, became one. It was like another defining moment in my life. I'm like, this is my career. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been leading up to. I didn't know. Social networking. Oh, people, technology. So it just was a natural next step in my career.
So you recognized straight away the potential that Facebook had?
I did. It was unbelievable. I'll never forget the day. And then my friend, shout out to Gary Gill, and then Carol Dysart was the one that introduced me to Gary. Shout out to Gary. So I remember him saying, Mari, we want you to test this app. You're going to need a Facebook account to try to test. I remember. It's so funny, Stephen. I was like, okay, I'm on LinkedIn, Academy, Rise, MySpace, forget it. My head hurt every time I went there. And I'm like, I'm a natural networker. I'm very gregarious. I'm very outgoing in my local community, and I'm a part of a lot of different groups. I'm like, I literally remember having the thought, why would I need an online platform to network? Oh, well, we'll give it a try. Pull up, Facebook.com. I'm like, oh, one of those just moments, like the goosebump. I just went, oh, something magic is here. And it's, even though the news feed, the profiles, the timelines, and a million changes over the last 10 years, but the blue, I love the Facebook blue. the
Yeah.
white space, the uniformity of everybody's profiles and everybody's pages. I actually really love that. And I just really felt strongly that there was something profound here. And I began to learn more and more about Mark Zuckerberg. And gosh, back then they called him the kindergarten CEO. He was so young, right? But, I just have great respect for him and his vision and his mission, and to connect more people on the planet. And I gotta tell you guys that I have never officially, if you will, thought about or used Facebook for personal reasons first. I do have friends and family. We have secret groups. We use Messenger. But from the day I got on Facebook to this day, my number one strategic objective is always business. It's professional networking. It's being part of groups, starting groups, running groups, using the page, understanding the ad products, helping people with ad products. And really, that's my passion, is to help small business owners in particular, although I work with many major brands as well, in embracing all that Facebook offers. And now they call it the Facebook family of apps, because you've got Instagram, and they've yet to really bring up WhatsApp and in the business world. But yeah.
So back then, obviously that was 2007, so you've recognized it. So what did you strategically, obviously when you first seen it, you just thought, okay, I'm just going to play about with it. But then the kind of strategy head kind of comes in, kicks in place. What did you think strategically that you could do with Facebook?
Well, here's the thing. So because I got invited to be part of this beta test team of this PodClass app, and and Facebook had just opened its API for third parties. So PodClass was super excited. Okay, we're going to be able to do these classes that you can take and teach. And so I learned it like 3 weeks flat, immersed myself into Facebook, really learned the basics. This was before pages, before ads.
Yeah.
The newsfeed was out. They had the newsfeed. And so it's really learning what you could do to strategically network. And what is that great movie with, was it Tom Hanks? I think it's called, what is that movie? But you know that one where You've Got Mail? I don't think it's called You've Got Mail. Somebody will remember it. But
I think it is You've Got Mail.
Is it? Do you remember?
Yeah, with Tom Hanks and I know who you're talking about, the blonde-haired woman.
Yeah. I'll come back to it. And
somebody will say.
The funny thing is that when AOL used to bring out those CDs, and you had gazillions of CDs for getting your dial-up Wi-Fi, but people were so excited because you'd hear that little ding, you've got mail, right? And we'd rush to our computers and go, oh, somebody's emailed me. And well, similarly, what would happen in 2006 and 7, maybe 2009, that we as a society, as beings using this new tool, when you saw that you got a new friend or a message from a friend, it was a super kind of excitement. And so what I found is that Meg Ryan, thank you, Orla.
Meg Ryan, I just put that up there.
And so then I remember messaging earlier in our conversation, Stephen, I said about when I first got the invite to come to San Diego. I was like, all of these, famous people who had their books.
Yeah.
And I'm reaching out to them, and I'm like in private messaging people like Jack Canfield and like all of these internet marketers that I've been following for a long time. And I'm like, could I interview? This is what I did. And this is brilliant what you're doing here. And we're in kind of a new era, another phase of Facebook, another exciting beginning phase of Facebook with these Facebook Lives and with the tools. I know you're using BeLive here. I do a lot of work with BeLive. They're an awesome company. And so the ability to reach out to an influencer, a business person, an author, speaker, whatever, and say, can I interview you? And that's exactly how I started. That was my strategy. And so within 3 weeks, I had these interviews. And then this app I was a beta tester for, PodClass, I actually, they had a contest to see whoever could get the most students enrolled for their class would win a large sum of money. And I won the prize.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. How much was it? Can you remember, just out of curiosity?
$10,000.
10,000. Wow.
So I used that to fuel my, my just like, really invested that into growing my Facebook business. My first program was called Facebook for Professionals. And it was all these modules. When I used PodClass, it was a great platform. And, there's a lot of great platforms out now for be able to take courses that really lead you through the process. So.
Yeah. So I guess that strategy of interviewing people, Do you think that opened doors for you then?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and like I say, because of that just natural propensity and that love that I have of people and getting to know people, and like you're doing, to draw out aspects of someone, of your interviewee, that
Yeah.
maybe they don't often talk about, right? Before, when we were in the green room, you said very kindly and respectfully, you're like, Mari, is there any questions that you don't want me to ask? And I will tell you, everybody here watching and listening. And I said to Stephen, you can ask me anything. No question off limits. You went, uh-oh.
Said you're going to regret that.
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, I was definitely open doors. It created relationships, and I just really, this is perfect. We're talking about this, and particularly in relation to Facebook, because and many of my talks that I do all over the country and the world, I have a slide that talks about how technology is moving at warp speed.
Yeah,
Warp speed.
as
However, fundamentally, human beings, we're not moving as fast. Our consciousness, I know this is a lot of the work that you do with your change your thoughts, that we are not evolving as fast as we actually need to as a society, as a global community, and to keep up with that technology. So if we can recognize fundamentally at the core, we are emotional beings. We have erratic emotions sometimes. I have this great saying that when emotions go up, intelligence goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
Right. So I just really strongly believe that we can utilize Facebook in particular, because it is the biggest social network in the world. Use it for good, use it for upliftment, use it to inspire confidence and raising consciousness in whatever work you do, right? Whatever your field, whatever your niche, make it your mission to elevate people. And even thinking about, have this strategy anytime I ever post anything online. And now I've even brought it into, I'm saying now, this is for years, text, emails, any form of communication, that I'm like, what is my deepest intent here? You want to always keep your ego in check. Feel like, oh, I'm trying to look good here. No, delete. Don't post that. Okay, how can I uplift others? How can I phrase this in a way, or what words can I choose that will inspire others? And that's really just a part of what I want to bring to the world.
I think that really goes along, and that's, I think, one of the reasons we kind of connected as well. So well, I think, was when I first started out, when I was doing kind of internet marketing, I was first starting out in products, and I was always asking the question, how can I make more money? How can I sell that for a higher price to make more money? And I was never really getting anywhere. But the moment I realized this is not about money, this is about helping people. Instead of asking the question, how can I make more money? How can I help more people? Literally, I'd say it was like an almost overnight thing. That's when the business started to turn around. But it was coming from a place, just like you've said there, be genuine, be authentic, be yourself. And if people are attracted to you, brilliant. If they're not, it doesn't matter. They're just not meant to be in your soul tribe, if that's what you want to call it. So I just really kind of really touched on that energy that we got when we first spoke a couple of weeks ago. And now what you're saying as well, it's just so true. And I think it's a huge lesson for kind of everybody watching and they're starting a business, because I teach that, you teach that as well. It's in the same kind of space. And just for anybody watching just now, if you've got any questions for Mari, just a capital Q with your question, and we'll try and get 10 minutes at the end. I know you're really busy, Mari, but you've kindly agreed to give us kind of 10 minutes at the end, but that'd be fantastic. So yeah, I really kind of love that about you as well, just that you're there to help people. But I guess there's a vision and a mission, well, not a mission statement, but I guess there's a vision for you there. Is that part of your vision for what you want to do, or part of your mission for what you want to do as well?
For helping people?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes. It's funny, I joke about wanting to clone myself, because I could have so many careers and so many different focuses, but that's one of the kind of the drums that I have literally beaten for 10 years. To people say, well, what is one of the secrets of your success, Mari? And I will say right from the get-go, I think we spoke about this the other week on a private call, Stephen, about the word focus being an acronym for follow one course until successful. The more diverse you are, the more you are attempting to out plate spinning and put all this out there, it kind of dilutes your productivity and your effectiveness. And so I just decided, and this is great conversation we're having, I just decided, like I say, in 2007, oh, this is it. Facebook's my thing now. I'm hitching my wagon to Facebook, and I'm not going to deviate from that. I'm not going to do any other aspect, even though I might have interest. For example, I would say, do you know send out cards? Do you guys have that in the UK? Sendoutcards.com. It's a great system where you can load your database up and send physical cards in the mail. It's a wonderful tool for networking. And they have like it's not quite network marketing, but I think it's like you get commissions if you give your link out. And I would see people, I'd read their bios and they'd be saying, oh, they're, a social media expert, and then they do this, and then they do this, and then here's my send out cards link, and oh, here's my other link, and I'd be like, it's too much. Take all of that out of your bio. And here's what you do. You have your one focus. You draw, I love, you call them your soul tribe. And I always say your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yep.
And you be very clear on what is your, Christopher, my partner, calls them avatar. Who's your avatar? Who's your ideal customer? You might have 2 or 3, okay? You don't have to exactly everybody into composite one person, but you might have a few different target markets. But what you're offering them is really a very similar a product or service or solution that's tailored to them. And so when you're clear about that, your people will be drawn to you, and then they might discover, oh, wow, you do that as well, or you have this to offer once they're kind of in your fold, your tribe. So, yeah.
Well, I think that was one of the pieces, because I was speaking to Christopher as well, and that's Mary's kind of life partner and business partner as well. Is that, am I correct in saying that, Mary? Yeah. Yes, is that the right way to say it? Is that the PC way to say it? Yeah.
Every time it's a partner, and then people will be like, wait, he's your romantic partner? I thought he was just your business partner. So
well, when I was speaking with Christopher as well, he was looking at everything I was kind of doing, and he says, Steve, you're doing way too much. He said, just focus. He said, what would be the top 3 things? I said, well, it would be top 4, because I had a list of about 12. He said, just focus on those 4 things. He allowed me 4. He said 3 at first, but he allowed me 4. He said, just focus on those things. And it's exactly what you're saying as well. Once you focus, your kind of the attention goes where your kind of attention flows as well. So once you start to focus, that's when it starts to expand. And I've found that really in the past as well, but I just kind of tend to have all these ideas and stuff. And I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be a brilliant add-on to the program. How do you deal with that? Because you just get that creative flow as well. You're a very creative person as well. How do you deal with that?
Well, so for example, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be up in Vancouver, and I'm a keynote speaker up there at Unbounce. Unbounce are great new page creation tool, right?
Yeah.
And they have this great annual conference called Call to Action. So super excited to go back to BC, my country of my childhood. And they have, it's the first time ever in all of my speaking career, that even long before social media, I'm like 30 years being a public speaker, and started when I was 12. Unbounce has a policy to be 50-50 male and female speakers. And I'm like, that is awesome. And so then what happened is something evolved into Stephanie, one of the staff there at Unbound. She wrote this blog post up about how so many conferences or event hosts, they have perhaps a limited belief that there just aren't enough female speakers out there to draw from. And so they wrote this post and they called it #PresentHer, and it just got so much traction. They started this Google spreadsheet for if you are a female speaker, specifically focusing around marketing, any elements of marketing, add your name to this list. And I just got a hold of this, and I brought my tribe over and doubled their list overnight. And then they're like, oh, okay, Stephanie wrote this blog, I think it's presenther.org. And so I was like, oh, I've always wanted to bring out a course or create a product or do like an online training, a mastermind, a mentorship program to help more female speakers. Oh, yeah, let me hitch my wagon to that. I'm like, wait, Maury, you can, be part of it, be involved in it, but to start up a whole new, lane, if you will, when I've nowhere near like exhausted, like everything that I have in the works for my Facebook focused business. So, I making a note of it, using different project management tools. I like Trello, be able to move the boards around and add my little lists. And so just get it out of the head so you're not lying awake at night, and the mind's all going crazy. But just knowing that there'll be time, and also surrounding yourself with a great team. I know you have some amazing team members to keep up your. By the way, anybody that's watching this from my audience that doesn't know Stephen, he has 3.5 million fans on the Stephen Aitchison page, and that's extraordinary. You maybe have seen some of his great content go by. Great
thank you.
content, but you couldn't be doing that yourself 24/7. I know you have a little bit of help, so that's the way to leverage yourself. There's no other way to leverage yourself without having other people supporting you.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what I was reading about you as well, Mary, you found it hard, like me as well, because I thought, I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one that can do it the right way, the best way. So you've obviously got a team around you where you trust that team, and I've got a brilliant team. But I must admit, I've got a brilliant team, particularly kind of Maria as well. She's the kind of operations manager. Big shout out to kind of Maria Flynn from YDFLive. She's amazing. And I know you've got a brilliant person as well, a kind of right-hand person, but you've got a team around you as well. But you found that difficult to kind of let go as well, didn't you?
I do. Hiring and firing or replacing or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. This has been one of my most difficult challenges, is just ensuring you have the right people and the right roles.
Yeah.
And then sometimes if things are not working out, the worst thing you can do is, what did they say? They say hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah.
Well, being like, such a people person. I'm a high I on the desk, and my C is a secondary. I'm high I, but I'm also extrovert, but I'm very detail oriented. And so then I have this, I had it the other way around for the longest time. I'd hire fast and fire slow. Oh, I really like you. Yeah, let's put you in the job.
Yeah, same, yeah.
So it is challenging. And now I'm actually on the market right now for some more support. We've got several roles needing filled. And so what I found, this was probably back in 2009 that I realized, wait a minute, if I'm not that great at hiring, why don't I delegate that skill? And then I work with recruiters, or I work with a virtual assistance organization. So then I tell them what I need, and they go and find me the right fit. And that's really probably one of the greatest tips I can give folks that are maybe in a similar position where you need help, you want help, but you not sure where to even go about it. There's some great, very, very inexpensive services. Actually, a virtual assistant, I was talking to one last week, that she offers as a service, recruitment, very, affordable package. You give them your job description, off they go. And this goes, I'm taking job, but this is for employees, but also I work with a lot of subcontractors, vendors to fulfill these different roles. Mm-hmm.
Which is brilliant as well. The one thing I was going to, what size is your team just now? Can I ask? Is that okay to ask?
Absolutely, no problem. We have about 10 on our core, and they're all over. We have a shout out to Liz. I know she's tuning in right here. Liz Melville's in Scotland. She's one of my moderators. So is Heather Nichols. She's in Dallas, Texas. We have Juan Felix is in the Netherlands, and he's been with me a long time, and he does my primary Facebook page moderation. I have a secondary page because my page is in my own name, like yourself. So I created a page years ago called Team Mari, and then all my moderators are they're admins on Team Mari, and then Team Mari comes and answers the questions on my page. But then Messenger, we also do interaction on Messenger. And then Anna Ramirez, shout out to her. She's in Denver, Colorado. She is my chief content manager. She curates my content for Twitter, for LinkedIn, and some of Facebook. I do most of my own Facebook. And then we have Jessica and Jamie job share my primary executive assistant role. And then Christopher is my chief strategy officer. And so then if I've forgotten anybody, forgive me, but I think that's the bulk of the team right there.
Brilliant. That's excellent. And it's good that you've given them a shout out as well. That's brilliant. The thing that I always because I've literally followed you for years, ever since I got into Facebook, and I didn't get into it till I was late, till about the end of 2013. That's how late I kind of got into Facebook. But I thought, but I thought I'm going to master Facebook. I sort of mastered email marketing. I thought I had. But that's changing as well. Just everything's changing. So I'm going to master Facebook, and it was the end of 2013. And that's when I really started to follow you as well. 2014 was when I really kind of got into what you were doing and following you, because I was reverse engineering what everybody else was doing. And you were back then, I think you were getting called the Facebook Queen back then as well.
Yeah.
So there's kind of two questions there. Well, no, not really. Two questions. How did you get called the Facebook Queen? Because I know Facebook actually hired you. Facebook, the company, hired you to go around and speak to small businesses. Is that correct?
Correct. What to train? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in 2009, I got approached by a journalist that writes for Fast Company magazine, and she has this wonderful moniker. She called me the Pied Piper of the internet. And so I have this propensity to be able to encourage people to follow me. Now, we want to obviously have the positive side of the Pied Piper, because I think people are really, I don't know if you look at the mythology or the real story of Pied Piper, but it's the aspect is being able to have people follow you.
People follow you, yeah.
And I know, and I love that. And people will call it too, if I promote someone in my blog or my newsletter or my social profiles, or talk about them, include them in my slides. I do a lot of brand ambassador work, and I love it. I love elevating brands, and always companies and tools and software platforms that I'm going to use myself. I do use myself.
Yeah.
She called me, the Pied Piper of the online world, or the internet. And then I think it's very shortly after that, I don't know where the Queen of Facebook came out, or the Facebook Queen. And I personally never put that moniker out there myself. And I don't mind it. It's cute. It's fun. and I have to say, one of my most quotable sayings is that, content is king. It was like most people agree. Well, content is king. If you don't have any content, what you're doing right now, Stephen, right here, this is content. You're creating content on your page. As well as written, audio, visual, video. Yep. And so I'll say content is king, but engagement is queen, and she rules the house. So that means that what some companies, brands, businesses, agencies, they're stuck a little bit in kind of old school one-way push marketing. They kind of hook up too many, like automated. They're posting just, okay, we got our blog, check. Okay, it's posting to our page, check. Oh, reach is down. Oh, well. 2 or 3 likes, and then they just kind of, don't look at ways to proactively engage and get the audience more involved. And so Facebook Live, what you're doing today, is an awesome way to do that. In addition is Facebook groups and also group messengers to be able to utilize more than just pages of what Facebook offers. I know Mark Zuckerberg, every time he's spoken publicly, practically this whole year, he's brought up groups early in his conversation. So I know that in fact, there's a 3-day event, coming up very soon in Chicago that specifically is a Facebook sponsored event, Facebook hosted event. Zuck's going to be there, and it's specifically around groups and communities, meeting group admins, and really elevating that aspect of Facebook. So I think we all need to be keeping an eye on, okay, what is he up to? I'll obviously be keeping everybody posted best I can. Yeah. So,
Well, and I keep always say this in the interviews because it just goes by so quick. That's 45 minutes already. Just a very quick one for the viewers that are kind of watching this just now, for Mary's kind of viewers, my viewers as well. If you've got any questions whatsoever, capital Q and then your question, and we'll try and get 10 minutes at the end. But there's a couple of questions I've got to ask you, and I'm getting excited about this. Okay. So we'll just do a quick fire one. What tools do you use? Because I know a lot of people are going to ask that. What tools do you find most useful for managing your time and Facebook and everything else, just time in general?
Gosh, my time. I mentioned Trello earlier. Yeah. I use Yammer for my in-house communications and my team. A lot of people prefer Slack. Slack's a good one. Yeah. Then we use Agora Pulse. Agora Pulse is a good one for community management of aggregating all of your social mentions and having your moderators in there. For managing your time, you're saying, let's see, a lot of plugins. I like plugins like there's one called Sorted, S-O-R-T-D, no E, S-O-R-T-D. That is a Gmail plugin that helps you to really organize your email. Boomerang is a great tool to make sure that you can, put your emails popping back up on your computer, in your email thread. I do have to give a shout out to a couple of video creation tools, 3 actually, my 3 favorite video creation tools. I am an ambassador for all 3, and one is Animoto. Animoto, people know. Square Video, sidebar folks, Square Video performs better on Instagram and Facebook. 15-second Square Video ads really perform well. And then Animatron is Animatron Waves. That's a fairly new product. I've not heard of that. Officially launched yet. Wonderful. Millions of beautiful stock images and videos in there. And then of course Adobe Spark. I know a lot of people use Adobe Spark. And because you asked about managing time, but the thing is that anytime I find an app that is quick and fast and efficient and easy, that you can crank content out super easy. I do have to give a shout out to another wonderful team member, Chloe, in Scotland. She's in Scotland too, in Perth, so I think she's stateside right now. And she is brilliant at creating visual content in a lot of these apps. So anyway, you said quick fire, but when you start talking about tools, I have so many tools. I need to actually bring out a whole like infographic of tools.
Well, that'd be a good post. I don't know if you've done that already, but that'd be a great post. Because I'm always interested in people like yourself. Obviously, you've got loads kind of going on. I'd love to know what kind of tools they use.
Workflows, right? Exactly, workflow. You use
yep.
Tool, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's brilliant. So I'm going to put a link to these as well. I'll put a link to these in the show notes after the kind of show, just for anybody watching, in case you're trying to scribble it down quite quickly. Awesome. The other one I wanted to ask, Facebook. Even when I started back in 2014, it was relatively easy to kind of get started.
Yeah.
But I'm saying relatively easy because you still had to put in the work and you still had to figure out engagement. You still had to figure out what your audience wants and figure out who your avatar was. And a lot of people aren't doing that nowadays. But if somebody's just starting Facebook just now, it's harder to get that reach. We know that. We know that. So what would you advise people that's just starting out on Facebook just now?
Well, it's interesting because earlier when we were talking about excuse me, how important it is to focus and go deep. And I have this, that concept that you go a mile deep and an inch wide.
Yeah.
That's a specialist, an inch wide, a mile deep. People want to work with specialists. What most people try, not most, but a lot of people try to do is they have it the other way around. They're going a mile wide and an inch deep. They're trying to be a generalist. They're trying to cater to everything and everyone. So this applies to your social media marketing success. Pick one platform and really master it. And that's really what you've done and are doing. So Facebook absolutely makes sense to be the one that you pick to go really deep and master. Don't be trying to master them all at once. Once you've got that, you go on. So just starting out, I would say look at everywhere right now. If you have an audience, you have an email list, invite them to come and like your page, load up your email list to Facebook and develop what are called custom audiences.
Yep.
There's a whole obviously other conversation around that and training. And then, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, wherever else you have audience, say, hey, we're on Facebook, we're doing this, doing lives, doing video, really focusing video content, doing the engagement component. And really learning best you can, even the basics, the fundamentals of the ad products to even a nominal budget, $50 a week, $100 a week, whatever it might be. And just knowing your first like $1,000 or so, if you've never done ads before, is going to be for testing and trying out and split testing and seeing what works for you and your audience. But you'll find that the thing is now, you're right, it's really shifted dramatically. It's not about amassing an enormous audience, millions. Oh my gosh, well, let's get millions of fans. Okay, that's great if you can do it. And you've obviously built your audience over a long period of time. And starting today, it'll be quite a bit more difficult, somewhat. I mean, you can do it with memes and with videos and obviously, we'd never like buy fans in terms of, people do that. But you can certainly do like campaigns to get more people to like your page. But really, the bottom line is making it, it's much, much better to have a smaller audience that's highly engaged, that are really a good match to your ideal demographic. They love you, they're showing up, they buy from you. That is way more coveted than having a massive audience who doesn't really interact. And do not buy into these forward-facing vanity metrics, because that's what people think. Oh my God, oh my gosh, my engagement's really high. Okay, now are you monetizing that engagement? Oh, so that's where we have to really think it through and have a strategy.
Yeah, and I think that's the big tip. Obviously, that's why I'm kind of trying to kind of teach people as well, because I really did focus on the engagement. And as a result of just focusing on the engagement, trying to get that as high as possible, sometimes as high as 100%, 120, 30%, it's gone down a lot now. But when you focus on that, that's when your page grows organically. So if you don't look at the page growth number and you look at the engagement number instead, and it's an easy way to do that, I've kind of shared that with loads of people all the time. But if you focus on that, I think that's going to be much better for you in the long run. And like you say, trying to hit your demographic as well, I think that's a brilliant strategy to use as well. The monetizing side of it, obviously, oh shit, we've only got 9 minutes, right?
Okay, it's all right.
Okay, just very quickly, I know you've got products and services, and you do speaking engagements. But again, somebody kind of getting into it, they start to build up a following. How do you monetize Facebook then? How would you kind of suggest you monetize Facebook?
You know, I love this question, and I've been literally asked it for 10 years, and it's the same answer, that we have to be careful of thinking, not us here, but I know there are people out there that look at Facebook like an ATM machine. I pop my card in here, it's going to spit money out. Of course, that's not how it works. It works from monetizing your products and services. So a lot of the times, I know you do business coaching, myself and Christopher do business coaching, and really helping small, medium, large business agencies, especially now, is so complex, right? So complex. Yeah. The bottom line is it has to be integrated and cohesive, that you have a compelling offer, you know who your target audience is, you have what's called frame of mind marketing. So there's congruence between the content that you have on your page, and you're amplifying the reach through ads. You're driving people from the ad to a landing page, that when people are in a frame of mind, they see that ad and they go to your landing page, it's totally seamless. They go, oh, this is awesome, sign me up. Great products like lead ads, where they don't even have to leave Facebook, tap it and they give you their email. Then ensuring that you have a proper email drip campaign to follow up, special offers, things like that. But without, you can do all of this, as you well know, Stephen, without being that kind of, you know, hardcore, pushy, you know, traditional internet marketer. With all due respect, it's always about the people and taking care of them and making them feel really loved and cherished and taken care of, and that you're there to help them to make a buying decision and solve the problems that they have, that you have the solution to.
And I think, again, I totally agree with you. There's the old kind of style of push marketing, where you get that kind of sleazy car salesman that's kind of on. They're kind of gone now, but it's called push marketing. But if you give great content, if you're educating, it's pull marketing, because people are drawn to you, and they then ask you, have you got any products? Have you got a book? Do you do coaching? And that's how really I got started. I know that's how you get a lot of referrals as well, because people are asking you about your services. But we've got.
If I could add to that. I will always say, now that's inbound marketing, attraction marketing, pull marketing, you're absolutely right. The key that I always say to audiences is, whatever business you're in, whatever industry, think of yourself first and foremost that you're in the business of education. You're educating your audience. That's exactly what you're doing so well, as you're interviewing people, is like educating, bringing value, bringing knowledge to your audience. And then, like you say, they're like, oh, wait, I like you. What do you have to offer?
Yep. And that's a huge thing for everybody watching. I think that's just kind of gold right there. And we've been saying it for a while. I know, Mary, you've said it for years as well. But it's all education-based marketing. That's kind of what we're doing here. But you're not marketing in the sense that you're trying to get something from it. You're marketing, or you're educating from a point of view where you genuinely want to help other people. You genuinely want to help. See, if they don't pay you any money, it's fine, as long as you're helping them there. But in the long run, you're probably going to attract people who just say, do you know what? Mary's given me so much information over the last couple of months, couple of years or whatever. Because I remember a story you'd said you'd had somebody on your email list for about 3 years before they even bought anything of yours. And I just think that's brilliant. And it's a long-term strategy. It's not a short-term quick fix. You're never going to get rich quick. It's never going to happen. So I think that's a brilliant strategy of yours as well.
Balances out with people who are on your list for 3 minutes and they buy. So just
exactly.
You don't have to wait 3 years, but there are those people out there that they take their time. But
it's all relationship-based. We're going to see if there's any questions. I'll just see question. We'll just put the first ones up there. Kind of scroll down to Tracy Andrews Wellman. Can you advertise services without a degree of social training?
You can. You can use the boost button. You can certainly use the boost button. My tip there would be to create a video. Definitely do video. And we've mentioned several of the different tools that are great, just even for slideshows, if you don't want to be on camera, such as we're doing here today. But if you're confident on camera and you want to, you can certainly do these lives and great tools. YDFLive is the one we're using here today. And then boost, Facebook makes it super duper easy with the boost button. That's kind of getting your training wheels on. Start there. The next step up would be to create what are called custom audiences, or at least saved audiences. You go into your ads manager, create all the different parameters with the different interests, the target demographics, save that audience, right? Then when you go to use the boost button, you can use the boost button with that saved audience.
Yeah.
That's at least a step up from the real basics. Otherwise, you definitely want to be doing some, without a degree. I love that, Tracy, without a degree. You don't need a degree, but it would be definitely highly, highly beneficial to learn as much as you can about the Facebook ad products, as well as really what we've been talking a lot here today about is the strategy of don't just like put some money onto an ad and hope the cash register is going to ring. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
It's about that long-term engagement. There's a lot of different strategies behind it. So
I think that's a brilliant tip right there. Okay, we've got another question from Laurie Emmett. She's a long-time kind of viewer of the show, so thanks for coming on, Laurie. As you're so much the face of your business and also such a people person, how do you manage to balance appearing accessible without your business consuming your life? Good question, Laurie.
Laurie, this is a daily challenge. I am not kidding. Oh, it's so fun because you know what's interesting? In today's day and age, there are a million different ways that people can reach us, right? There's people that have your private cell, they can text you, there's Facebook Messenger, there's LinkedIn inbox, there's Twitter DMs, there's regular email. It is crazy making. And I'll tell you something really cool. There's a new company that's in development in Palo Alto. I want to give them a shout out. Entify. It's called Entify, E-N-T-E-F-Y. In fact, I think I have Mehdi, he's the father of the founders. This is his book right here called Univecta. I just happened to see it there. Wonderful. Oh, wow. So shout out to them up there, Brienne and her brother Alston and their father Mehdi. What Entify is a universal communication tool, a universal inbox. Let's say I prefer WhatsApp, but Stephen prefers text, and someone else prefers email, and someone else prefers, Twitter DM, whatever. It's like, it's this universal way that whatever way you send it is your preferred way. And then the other person receives it in their preferred way. I mean, it's all done through artificial intelligence, machine learning. But so I'm looking forward to that day when that product's really live. But Laurie, it definitely is a daily challenge, and I do what I can each day, and I respond to as many folks as I can. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I have my team, and then they will respond. But my key is this, for me personally, in integrity, I never delegate my voice. If you are interacting on Twitter, Facebook, email, wherever, and I'm speaking in first person, that is me. Nobody gets to speak as me. So.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Laurie. I really appreciate that question. Okay, we'll just see if there's any more questions here. I know we're kind of pushed for time, but I'm trying to squeeze as much as possible out of you.
Oh, good.
Right, okay. Right, so remember, if you've got any questions, I said before, I'm just scrolling down here, capital Q, and then your question. Can't see any there. Everybody's enjoying your content, by the way. I'm just scrolling through all the comments, which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
right.
I know it's tricky to do your own questions.
As I should have kind of got with Maria to kind of fire the questions at me, but I can't see any there just now, and I do apologise for that. If you've asked a question,
Ledbetter, I see another Scot in the house. Marion, see that? I'll say it with my Scottish accent. Hello, Marion Ledbetter.
We've also got another Scots in the house, a regular viewer, Kim Hamilton, another Scottish person. Big shout out. She's Scottish as well. There's a few in here actually. Mary Smith, thank you. So I could literally talk to you for hours. Honestly, I could, because I've still got a list of questions that I wanted to ask you, but we're not going to do it just now. This is maybe that's the thing. Maybe we could get you on again, because I've still got lots of questions. That's my sneaky wee trick to get you back on again. But Mary, thank you so much for coming on. I really, truly appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Happy to be here. If there's questions there that didn't get answered, I'm happy to take a peek and pop some answers in later today. But yeah, thanks for having me on. You are a pleasure, and keep on making a difference out there as you do.
Thank you, and you too. And thanks to everybody for watching. I know we didn't have that much time for Q&A, but I really appreciate you watching. You're a brilliant audience. You know that. I love you to bits. And it's great that you kind of showed support for Mary as well. So thank you. I'm going to be on normal time probably tomorrow. I've got a special kind of guest on tomorrow as well. Everybody knows Maria Flynn is going to be on tomorrow with me as well. But thank you for watching this interview with Mary Smith. And once again, Mary Smith, thank you so much. Truly appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.